Hello and welcome to Towards a Better India. In this particular video, I want to essentially highlight the existence of prostitution in India, which of course, all of you would be well aware of, but in a very specific manner. And essentially, I want to highlight the fact that what I see as a lot of hypocrisy, because what I'm going to essentially do is I'm going to showcase to you the fact that when it comes to prostitution in terms of, say, classifieds in our leading newspapers, that is being openly advertised, and at the same time, things are under the garb of something different. And the whole thing, it seems to be there seems to be a lot of pretension around the entire thing. So now what I'm going to do is that, see, I'm on epaper.timesofindia.com, and I'll go here to Times of India. I'll say choose the Delhi edition, and standard is just fine, so I'll click on submit. And at the same time, I have opened another tab which is for Hindustan Times, which is another leading paper in India. And again, what I do is I essentially choose the, if I just come out of it, what you see is you choose your edition. So I choose Hindustan Times Delhi, if you can see below, Hindustan Times Delhi. So I choose that, and it's going to open up now. Meanwhile, I go back here, and here, if you can see the different sections, front page, advertisement, etc, etc, etc. So essentially, for Times of India, I'll be going on to page 10. And so let me just probably just quickly jump in there, and let me click go, and let me just scroll down a bit. And here is what I want to essentially show you. So if I'll just get closer, and I'll show you this window which is opened up, and you can see packers and movers, you can see services for pest control, modeling, and then here we come to the clandestine manner in which prostitution is being kind of promoted, openly advertised. See, under the garb of massage parlors, here you can see New Kerala, you can see a mobile number in the next one. Now you can see hotel guest only, body massage, and so you can pretty much very clearly see that there's so many of these advertisements being made. And I think they continue on the next row as well. Let me just click, and there'll be these entire set of advertisements opening up. You can see this mobile number, you can see Tamanna, return of Bangkok. Look at the promotional words and the text which they use: luxury call, royal class, full body massage, nice Kerala Ayurvedic, lovely massage center, again another mobile number, aroma healthcare, another mobile number, Ayurvedic. So you can see, and again there are escort services as well which are being advertised. Now you can see that I'm on the same date on both these papers, which is September 1st 2012, when I'm actually recording this video. And now if I go to Hindustan Times, and Hindustan Times, let me tell you, it would be page 8. So let me just jump to let me see if I can do that. I can probably go to page 10 and then go, and here I can, it's easier to do it on this side. So you can see I've clicked on page 8. Now page 8 has opened up over here, and here, so now I'm on Hindustan Times Classifieds, and now let me also click here, and now it's opening up in big. It's loading. So here you can again see from pretty close. You can see the way things are being promoted or advertised over here. And in Hindustan Times, interestingly, they are being showcased as health and physical fitness. So now how much of health and physical fitness this actually corresponds to is of course a different question altogether, but nonetheless this is how they're being advertised. You can see health and physical fitness, Rachit high profile, Aparna, Alfie, introducing royal class, full relax, Sonia high class, Then you can see 5 7-star luxury call, royal class body massage, and you have a name there, Natasha Raizada, and you have a mobile number being showcased. And now if I again go to the next column, again what you can see is that, so you can see the big ad on, oh, you've got more even more ads, on top. And then if I come down to this, this one, Russian escort, Russian, Indian, Punjabi, Turkey, Kashmiri, Afghani, real models, super Kerala, royal class, real Ayurvedic. So now you can clearly see that these leading newspapers, I think there's some bit of hypocrisy here for certainly, because on one hand you're essentially probably the same day's newspaper might have a headlines or a page 3, when typically local news are shown, where you might have, say, cases of rape or molestation, etc., being showcased. And it is these same very same newspapers which are actually carrying advertisements for prostitution. Now, how appropriate is that, is what is my question. And just to prove my point, I've actually taken, I've got copies of both these newspapers in their physical form as well. So I'll move now from their digital version to the print version. Here you can see this is today's Hindustan Times. You can see that it is Saturday, September 1st, 2012. And I've also laid out the Times of India, today's copy again. You can again see it is New Delhi, Saturday, September 1st, 2012. And I've laid them out in such a way I can quickly take you to that page again. So I go on to the classified section, HT classifieds on Saturday, and here are the same ads which you saw in their digital form. Now you can see them in their print form as well. And so you can see those same very ads which I just showed you, you can actually see them. So like if I go back to the digital version and I just show you the Hindustan Times copy, you can see that that the Russian Indian resort escort, yeah, and then this 5 7-star, and the same ads you can see them here, that Russian Indian escort, and you've got this 5 7-star. Now I just quickly move to Times of India. The same day I showed you, it's the same date, Saturday, September 1st, 2012. I quickly go over to page 10, and here you can see those advertisements. So the same ads which I showed you in that digital form, you can see them here very clearly. You can see them, and this is as recent can get. So this is the very same day's newspapers. Both the copies are there with me. So now the point, essentially, now I'll come back to the digital form and essentially, speak about what, the point that I'm trying to make. One is the fact that there is hypocrisy, and two, see, I'm not a person who's specifically going to, promote social mores in any way, because it is my personal opinion, and I think it is a universal truth that prostitution has been around for ages. It is in fact considered to be the world's oldest profession, and in all probability it is definitely there to stay. I don't think it is something which is just going to disappear overnight or something on those lines. Now, that being the case, I just feel that there's definitely an a serious element of hypocrisy here, in the sense that in the same newspapers often carry reports of these prostitutes being some flesh trade which the police has kind of fleshed out, if for want of a better word, and they've arrested say the pimp and the concerned prostitutes, etc. Now I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they also read these same newspapers, and they also know that this is essentially nothing but prostitution. And now the most important point which I wanted to make is that I'll just go on to the third tab which I've opened here. If you can see, it is prostitution in India, and that is essentially the Wikipedia page. Now here, if you see, very interestingly, a lot of people may not even be aware, in India, prostitution, the exchange of sexual services for money, is legal, but a number of related activities, including soliciting in a public place, curb crawling, owning or managing a brothel, pimping, and pandering, are crimes. Now I'll go to the map along this article, and you can actually look up this article very easily. Just open up Wikipedia and go to prostitution in India, and you will see the same page and the same map alongside. Now the countries in blue, like this is Kazakhstan here, and this is India here. These are countries where prostitution per se is legal. Now there are the legends below which can kind of which guide you. Prostitution legal and regulated. Like for example, this is Turkey. You can see that it is legal as well as regulated. Now the countries in blue, which include India, prostitution, the exchange of sex for money, legal, but brothels and pimping are illegal. Prostitution is not regulated. Now I think this is definitely the key part. This very aspect, that prostitution is not regulated. I feel, see, prostitution in many ways is anyway going to be there. It's going to exist. So I think the correct approach would be that yes, since it is already legal, let it remain that way. But at the same time, regulate it in certain ways, so that I don't say that it should flourish, but let it exist in a manner where probably there are various, certain stakeholders who can actually like for example, I feel that, say, taxing prostitutes, given their number, I think that may not be all that bad an approach anyway, because again, coming back to the same point, that prostitution in some way or the other, some form or the other, is always going to be there. Whether you legalize it, render it illegal, whether you chase after them, whether you try to ban it altogether, I don't think anything's going to come out of that. In some form or the other, it's always going to exist. And as far as these legalities are and lack of them are concerned, I mean, in many ways it's a joke, because if you look at this map again, and I'm specifically pointing at a country which probably many of you would relate to in terms of its sexual activities there, Thailand, right in the center, if you can see this one here, Thailand. So prostitution, as per this map and as per this article, seems to be that it is illegal. But we're all pretty much well aware of the fact that it is rampant there. Paid sex is perhaps one of the easiest things to find if you go to Thailand. So that being the case, I don't know. I mean, clearly there's hypocrisy all over the world, but I specifically feel that there can always be certain moves which are made in terms of regulating the whole thing, and trying, say, every sex worker in India, given their large numbers. Here, I'll just read out this to you. Prostitution is widespread in India, although it is currently a contentious issue. In 2007, the Ministry of Women and Child Development reported the presence of over 3 million female sex workers in India. All right, and Human Rights Watch puts the figure of sex workers in India at around 20 million, with Mumbai alone being home to 200,000 sex workers, the largest sex industry center in Asia. So can you even imagine these kind of figures? If assuming this to be true, this 20 million figure, there are many countries around the world which don't have that many people. So we're looking at sex workers in India, being more than the number of people in certain countries. So that being the case, again, I feel, I mean, let's regulate it. Let's have an environment where these people can actually exist as well as lead a certain respectable life, even while being a part of this sex worker community. I feel that there's often this this inclination towards degrading these people as though they belong to some really scum of society, so to say, because I don't look at it that way. I feel that they are actually providing a certain service to society. I feel that in a extremely hypocritical as well as in many ways sex starved society like India, if these prostitutes weren't to be there, I think incidents of rape and molestation would be much higher. And that being the case, I feel you can actually have, like for example, you already have, like here I can even read out them to you. Like the largest and best known district red light districts are, say, Shonagachi in Kolkata, Kamatipura in Mumbai, GB Road in New Delhi, Kashmiri Market in Agra, Reshampura in Gwalior, Budwarpet in Pune, etc., etc. So you can see, there are these designated areas. But if you go to these areas, you'll probably, especially if it's say an upper crest individual, I doubt he would have, any sort of intention to do anything, in these places. Now, I've not been to all of these places. The GB Road I've kind of walked past and I've kind of seen, and in Delhi, and I mean, experience was anything but good. I've not entered inside any of these places, but what the impression that I get seems to be something on the lines of something, a really bad experience, and really unhygienic, and many negatives. That's the impression which you typically get. Now, that is where I think, let's look at these classifieds, and these more sophisticated. Here they're talking about 5 and 7 star, and this one is talking about hotel guest only. So so that's where the demand for service of a certain higher level is coming into play, because an upper crust individual is not keen on going to GB Road or going to Kamatipura. He would probably prefer something much more high high quality or high caliber. So again, that comes back to the fact that prostitution or paid sex in some form or the other is anyway going to be there. And when it's anyway going to be there, why not regulate it? Why not say tax it? My point is, why not say have every sex worker in the country registered? Make it illegal to say function as a sex worker without being registered. So you can have some sort of a database where every single sex worker in the country is actually registered, and then you have a certain, say, like along the lines of, say, a social security number in the US. You can have something along those lines, say a sex worker number, or whatever, because at the end of the day, they are also providing a certain service to society anyway. I mean, so why not give them that security, as well as certain a dignity of life, which I feel is extremely important. So if that can be provided, and instead of this hypocrisy where on one hand you have these mainstream newspapers openly publishing advertisements for prostitution, and then at the same time that very day's newspaper may have a report on, say, instances of prostitutes being so called a flesh trade being exposed, as is this was something which was not nobody knew about, and suddenly you come to know about this. So instead of that being the case, you can always have some things which are more open. And see, there are many problems also. I mean, like, if I can specifically point this out, underage prostitution, if you can see, child prostitution is a major problem in India, involving around 1.2 million children. And this is a problem which needs to be tackled separately. I think we need to be very clear about this, that when it comes to prostitution, it has to be, say, women, and if at all there are male prostitutes, which, as I understand, they also exist. I mean, they have to be 18 or above. They cannot be below that, and any kind of paid sexual activity below the age of 18 with an individual below the age of 18 is strictly, say, absolutely illegal and liable for prosecution in many ways, and whether it's from the customer side, whether it's from the prostitute side, any which way, these kind of regulations, norms, strictures, as long as they are maintained, I think there are a lot of things which can be done. Like, for example, you have certain legislations in place. You can see this Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, and you have all kinds of political debates, legal debates. So that's basically my intention in any way, that I'm looking to stir a debate nonetheless, because, and now here you have, even in this within this article, you have this portion that there are male sex workers in India as well. Gigolo service in India is growing. That so these kind of things are there. And of course, say homosexuality in the country, as much as it may be in the closet, fact of the matter is that it very much exists. There are ample number of, say, men looking for men, and probably at least some women also who are looking for women. So that's that sort of sexual activity, what we might refer to as alternative sexual preferences, that nonetheless all that is definitely there. So my advice and my recommendation would be that this is the part which I have a problem with. Prostitution is not regulated. I feel regulated. Don't have these arbitrary raids, and you suddenly you seem to be out of the blues. You're discovering prostitution having to be exist in the country when we all know that it is there.